Is America's Mayor alive, beginning a new week after yet again another unexpected, shocking week that shakes your confidence in exactly where our society is going, but requires you to hold on to the timeless principles that have guided us to where you are and I am and our country is, and to stick with them. And the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk offers us great strength, as it does also great shock. This is a man that died doing what he believed in. This is a man who never backed off, never stood down, never seemed to exhibit fear, always seemed to exhibit confidence. And as we get to know him better in the revelations about him that have come out over the last 3 or 4 days, and I didn't know him, and I knew him well, not a close personal friend. Not that I wouldn't want him to have been, but it just didn't happen that way. But someone I respected and liked a lot and knew in one way or another since when he was 18, always was extraordinarily impressed with him from all points of view, as a speaker, as a thinker, as a debater, all things that I do and respect and evaluate in other people. And also as a human being, I remember being touched by the picture of his first child. And I didn't know him that well, but I sent him and his wife a congratulations. And I told them how warm it made me feel to see them with a baby, because they're a perfect couple to bring an American into this world. I had great respect for him. When they were attacking him toward the beginning of the campaign, some of the attacking him, I mean, this happens in a campaign all the time. People who probably wanted to do the job and get a lot of money for it was saying he shouldn't do he shouldn't be entrusted with the security work in, where was it, in Arizona? And to some extent, then he spread out into Pennsylvania. And I said, don't be ridiculous. I've spoken at the organization. He got about the best kind of organization you can have. You're not paying him. And they looked at me like, oh, what do you know? Because I've never been a paid political, gun for hire. And that's essentially people I was talking to. And I mean, Charlie was taking money away from them. And they looked to me because who the heck knew better how to secure the election than me, since I knew how the other one was taken apart. So I remember, and Ted will remember this, he's right here, somewhere around September, when it was early enough to do something about it. I almost think it was the week after the Republican convention. We went to Georgia, I think. And we went to a place where his organization and 3 others had teamed up to handle the very critical Georgia operation. I mean, Georgia, I considered to be a state that we had proven that we had won. Some we had proven without any doubt there was tremendous cheating, but a couple we had proven we had won. And also one that is from top to bottom corrupt and very, very hard to crack. And I was asked to give my opinion as to whether or not the group there was capable of handling it. And a lot of it was some of the Trump group taking shots at Charlie's group. I'm not even sure it was at Charlie. They're kids. So, and they're for nothing. And they would rather have their paid people doing it. You got to understand this. I've been in 5 presidential campaigns, including my own. So I understand them. So I went there and we campaigned with them for the weekend. We actually went out and Dr. Maria, Ted and I, We took a lot of great pictures. We went door to door. We looked at lists. We sat for about 4 hours in the headquarters. I talked to them. I had done this several times in 2020, and I always felt maybe I missed things in 2020. I wasn't going to let it happen in 2024. And I got back to the campaign and to the president in particular. And I said, your best guy is Charlie. He's your best guy because they're the most motivated. They're here. They'll stay. They'll sleep under the desk. They're not getting paid. They're here because they believe in you, Mr. President, and they believe in him. That's the best volunteer. You can't get anyone like that. I mean, the Democrats are paying them. Soros is paying them. We're not paying them. They're here because they agree with us that we have to save this republic. And needless to say, the states that he had charge of, I'm so proud of him. And it enhanced my otherwise fairly uniform respect for him as a man, as a Christian, as a teacher, as a speaker. I never thought of him on the list of the most vulnerable, meaning if you were going to start knocking off, sorry, I was a prosecutor, so I talk that way. If you were going to start to kill those around the president, although now tragically it makes a lot of sense. I would not have thought of Charlie as the one that would have excited that kind of emotion. Oh, maybe Steve Bannon, maybe me. I never understood Navarro, what Navarro ever. I mean, Bannon and I say whatever we think, and
well, it's not what you're saying; it's how the media portrayed you. Remember also, that, Mayor.
Yeah, but we push it. So I understand it. I know what I'm doing, and I know the risk I'm taking. But Charlie always, that's not his nature, and that wasn't his role. His role was to teach and to open minds, and I always thought he was remarkably discreet,
right,
extraordinarily kind. And that's why it worked with the kids. I mean, I was there at maybe 4 or 5 of these different programs. I spoke at 3 of them. And it was, you could see the attraction, nobody listens to them. Even the left-wing brainwashed ones, nobody listens to them. In fact, the left-wing brainwashed ones are probably most in need of being listened to because they've been dictated to. This is not, and I didn't know this until a very recent interview by Mark Levin of Charlie. And I should have. Let me say I suspected it. I have a very deep knowledge and understanding of how the communists have infiltrated us and that a lot of what's happening to us is orchestrated. It is not at all accidental. And it is part of a plan that goes back to, in certain ways, 1848, on and off during that period. And that when I see its various Hydra heads emerge, I can say Marx. And there are a few people, that some I'm very friendly with, some I'm not, but I respect, who have that ability also. Levin does, Bannon does. I didn't know that and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does, believe it or not. But I didn't know that Charlie did. And then he did an extraordinary interview with Mark Levin, in which he displayed a very, very deep knowledge of the long road of communism and the patient road of communism to try to take over the world. And he understood his enemy. He understood when he was going into those universities, he wasn't doing battle with those kids. He was doing battle with Karl Marx. He was doing battle with the professors who sold out America. He was doing battle with the government officials who sold out America, teaching hatred of America, teaching horrible things so that you almost don't have the basis of a common language to talk and debate. And it was remarkable to me to see the patience that he had to do it. And I don't know. I'm not a poet and not a theologian or a priest, but there's somehow I feel nobody wants to die. But we all know we are. And I guess if Charlie had to die, he'd probably want to do it in that chair that he was in, because that's where he did his best work. Even I'm pausing because I'm thinking. I'm wondering if his spiritually and intellectually and in the broadest sense, his best work was in that chair. Practically, his best work was securing the 2024 election, because he could sit in that chair forever, and I could do what I do forever. And if we hadn't won the 2024 election, we were on our way to hell. So what does it matter which is his greatest contribution? They both were great. So I'm going to say this at the beginning now because, oh, isn't that a beautiful family? Look at the smile on his face, and look at the smile on her face. And if that isn't legitimate, you come and see me, and I'll send you to a psychiatrist. If you don't see that, if you don't see the joy in their eyes at having children, which, it's what life. There's so many young people that don't believe this anymore. It's what life is about. Having them. Look at her. Have you ever seen more joy on your face than Erica's face? You look at his satisfaction. He was a bit older, not so much in this age, but in my age, he was kind of older to get married and have a child. So with all of that, and with all the human aspects to this, I don't stop. I do understand, but I didn't expect. I didn't expect either. I didn't expect the massive reaction all over the world affected by his loss. Much deeper than I thought. I knew it would be deep in the United States, but I didn't know he had reached so many young people all over the world. And I think he reached young people he didn't even reach because they knew he wanted to reach them and nobody else does. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying? They knew there was a person there that wanted to reach them. So they identified with him. Because the ceremonies that you saw, like in London, and you don't see that for an American right-winger. And they didn't have, like we have here, disgusting animals interrupting it. Lower than life individuals running through it and trying to desecrate it. Maybe in Europe, they still have more respect. Maybe they understand the time-honored American, what would we call it, principle. Always speak well of the dead. If you can't say anything, don't say anything. There's plenty of time to analyze it in the full flower of history. It doesn't have to be done as the person's body is still cold and still warm and getting ready to be buried. Every family is affected and every family is hurt. And look, I've had mafia figures killed and I just kept my mouth shut. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll get you up to date on where the heck we are here and what we can expect tomorrow, which is, I think, a big day of revelations. And also the president performing an enormously important function right now that I saw him doing today, which is getting his administration on track to continue through this. This could have the tendency of really, not permanently, but of really slowing you down. And he's really trying very hard to push through in the most appropriate way possible. And I can guarantee you, Charlie would not want one day missed because he realizes that this is do or die for America. And what happened over this last week proves that. We'll be right back. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
This is Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back with you on America's Mayor Live. And this, from the very, very beginning, from the first maybe or second time I saw the horrific video. This has, let me use the old expression, stuck in my craw. And it's going to have to get out of there as an investigator before I resolve this. It was the question that was being asked of Charlie in the moments before he was assassinated. And he was sitting in the middle of the tent, which I think we reviewed with you in great detail on Friday. We even built our own Lego reproduction of it to show you how difficult the shot was. But the first moment I reviewed that, my detective's instinct came up, boom, like that. And I said, well, this is a coincidence that has to, see, what you do with a coincidence in a crime situation is you resolve it one way or the other. It can be the break that helps you understand the crime. It can be just a coincidence. But you never just, there is no such thing as just a coincidence you don't examine, unless you're being paid off to fix a case. So in the 2 minutes, 3 minutes leading up to the death of Charlie, a UVU student named Hunter Kozak, a left-wing zealot, asked Charlie a question with a statement. A few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter. And ever since then, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans. I think you're in support of this. So do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Charlie Kirk, too many. Kozak, it's 5. Okay. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Kirk, counting or not counting gang violence? Great, says Kozak, and then the shot rang out. Now, does it trouble you that at the moment he was being shot and killed, and we're going to have to make a little leap here, but it's a fairly responsible one, which always can be altered. It appears as if this was connected, this animus and this hatred for Charlie was connected to his views on transgender. And I think his misinterpreted views on transgender also. So let's just assume that I'm correct about that. And I may not be, and we can just discard this. Isn't it weird that he's being asked about that? He's being asked about the very subject about which that bullet now emerges from 200 yards away. He's being asked about the very subject which led to the man standing way up there shooting him at the time that this happens. Is there a signal involved in that? Is there a symbolism involved in that? This guy Kozak, who is he? Why did he ask the question just then? There were others in the crowd, a man who turned around and was yelling USA, USA, and looking toward the killer. Are they being pursued more diligently than in the situation in the investigation of the attempted assassination of President Trump, which was a disgraceful investigation and continues to be? So this we want to keep following. We want to find out how this gets involved. Now, we count up more like 11 transgender in the last 8 years. We've got some of the most recent ones here. The Nashville shooter, of course, and the Aberdeen, Massachusetts shooter, the Denver, Colorado shooter, the Colorado Springs shooter. It does seem to be a kind of epidemic of this going on. And I don't know. I don't think it can just be dealt with by waving the hand and not taking a look at it from the point of view of who and what this is all about. So I guess that's going to have to be done, and I assume the FBI is going to do it. We're going to have to examine propositions like, and these are two people I don't know, but they wrote a conclusion at the beginning of their article, which could be a proposition that should be the subject of part of the investigation. This is John A. Berthka IV, who's the president and CEO of the Intercollegiate Studies Institute, and Marlo Slayback, who's the executive director of the Collegiate Network of ISI. ISI, apparently, Intercollegiate Studies Institute, like Charlie, believes in a robust speech. And also, they have done studies about, college campuses and what they tolerate and not. And there's no doubt that students have a much lower tolerance for conservative speakers than for progressive ones. But they begin their beautiful article, which is quite short today, saying Charlie Kirk walked into a college campus to practice the most important American civic habit, open inquiry and argument in pursuit of truth. He left that stage with a bullet wound, dying hours later. It was undeniably a public execution by a political enemy. Kirk's murder is the horrific endpoint of a progressive culture that treats conservative viewpoints as not merely wrong but blasphemous, and their speakers as unworthy of safety. Universities have enforced the idea that questioning progressive orthodoxy is tantamount to hate speech. I couldn't have said it better. That's what they've done. That's what they've taught. That's what has to be undone. And that's what Charlie was in the process of doing. And now that he's gone on, but left with us quite a curriculum. Are we going to pick it up? Are we? Are we going to be able to stand up against all those horrible people that have attacked him, attacked his family, terrible things they're saying about him now? But I don't see that it's having the slightest impact on those who are mourning him and those who are celebrating his life, and celebrating it in the sense that, in a way that will give them the enthusiasm and the support and the strength to carry on his quest. Holman Jenkins of the Wall Street Journal concludes in a single sentence at the end of his article saying, if we had an honest and even slightly brave mainstream media during the Trump era, everything would be different now. No, of course that's true. And they are part of the problem that has been with us for quite some time. Now, I don't want you to think that this has been all one way. It has not. Charlie has had more support than anyone could possibly have imagined. The GoFundMe fund for educating his children has raised, as of yesterday, $4.7 million. And he is being honored, and there are ceremonies for him all over the world. And conservative groups in particular all over the world feel very much tied to him and connected to him in a way that I'm not sure we even realize completely. Alice Weidel, who's the leader of AfD in Germany, which is the far right party, often considered to be Nazis, which they are not, says he was shot by a fanatic who hates our way of life. Sohei Tamaya, the leader of Japan's populist right-wing Sasido party, said Kirk was committed to building the future with us. The phenomenon of young people, especially men turning conservative, is occurring simultaneously across multiple continents, Kirk told an audience of 2,000 in Seoul just days before he was shot. Well, we know who's responsible for that, huh? He is described by Mario Fernando Cabal, a very patriotic and brave, influential Colombian senator, as an anti-woke hero who was murdered by psychopathic socialists. You want to disagree with that? Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who is the scourge of all of these phony left-wingers, said Kirk's death was the result of the international hate campaign waged by the progressive liberal left. So it's not all one way. It's not all one way by any means. But there are many who have been disgraceful, disgusting, inhuman in their attack. Even school teachers, the very people that are training our young people. It only goes to prove yet again how the Marxists have invaded our school system and taken control. I mean, you can go all over the country and find this. I have a couple of examples. Ted, I'd like you to see if you could come up with a couple too, because you dealt with them this weekend. But there's a teacher in Framingham, Massachusetts named Samantha Marengo. She posted a video online of herself merrily singing God Bless America through a Cheshire grin while standing before a breaking news report of Charlie's death. The now deleted video was preserved by the account Libs of TikTok, which added, "This person teaches your children." She was celebrating his death, and she's a teacher.
God bless America.
Is that the moron?
God bless America.
What have we done to get a fire, Ted?
God.
Pardon me? I think we should all. Samantha Marengo. Her name is Samantha Marengo. It's in the Framingham, Massachusetts elementary school. She also can't sing, by the way. Then there was a gentleman, he's not a teacher, but what the hell? His name is Charlie Rock. He's a football communications coordinator with the Carolina Panthers. Why are you all sad? Your man said it was worth it. And so he was celebrating the death of Charlie. Now, Elon Omar.
I got Charlie Rock here.
Okay, let's play that.
It's just a picture.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's what he posted. Sorry, I'm just trying to bring up the ones that you talked about. He just posted. Okay, go ahead, next one.
The next one is Elon Omar, who is I think that's the one who was married to her brother. Went on to a cruel rant about Kirk. There are a lot of people who are talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate. These people are full of shit, and it's important for us to call them out while we feel anger and sadness. Why does she feel anger and sadness? I mean, it should be the coup de grace for her. In upstate, what? In upstate Naples, a public school teacher called Kirk an aspiring Goebbels. Good riddance to bad garbage. This guy's teaching kids. Now, Kristen Eve, who I think we all saw, who's a teacher at the Department of Defense Education Activity at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, wrote on Facebook, he was a garbage human. I won't mourn him for 1 second. We're at a point where things are going to have to get ugly, get messy, maybe even get violent to change this dumpster fire of a country. I think maybe she could be arrested for inciting violence. I think that's more than just talk. That's like taking a match and throwing it on a smoldering fire. She then went on to say that voting is not enough. F the high road. F that guy. Southside High School teacher Wayne Boliak of Greenville, South Carolina. He's a Boston Terrier owner packaged up nicely as one big queer hot mess. And I'm celebrating the assassination by writing America became better today, says the one big queer hot mess. He was placed on leave. Leave? Leave from what? So he can come back and the big queer mess can teach children to be big queer messes? Secret Service had to get rid of an employee. This deep state hatred of Donald Trump, which I knew is the thing that resulted in the stealing of the 2020 election, and the complete lying about it, and the judges complicit in it, and the deep state complicit in it. You see how it goes way. I mean, this isn't like you're doing an excavation in Jerusalem or Rome. It goes way down. Way down. Comcast wrote a very, very, very strong letter to MSNBC that something has fractured in our public discourse, and we have a responsibility to mend it. Okay, we're going to find out over the next several days how serious Comcast is. There's only one way to mend it. I've watched it often enough to know that there isn't a single person on there that has a conscience. So get rid of all of them. Every single one. You could not have worked for them if you have integrity.
What's that again there?
What?
Sorry, I missed that. Did you ask me?
Question?
I said the Comcast op brass slammed MSNBC for their coverage of Kirk.
Comcast did?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Not just Matthew Dowd. They said something essential has fractured in our public discourse. Responsibility to help mend it. Well, here's what they have to do. It's very simple. Stop the bullshit and fire them all. Get rid of every single one of them. Start all over again.
I thought that's what they were attempting to do.
Every single one. Every single one.
No more games. No more games. No more benefit of the doubt, if you ask me.
I mean, it's absurd the things they get away with, and the things they get to say.
Yep.
Then we have this young lady who's who called for the disciplining of a New Jersey doctor who cheered the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's Lindsay Kunzel. She works for the Englewood Health. She works for Englewood Health in Bergen County. and she was fired for calling out the doctor on her personal Instagram account for celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk as a violation of the Hippocratic Oath. And they fired her, not him. Sound like a fix? Kung said he hated Kirk, and he deserved his murder. So he deserves to be fired.
And he resigned, right?
Did he?
He resigned.
He did.
Due to the public pressure. So it shows that it's working to a degree. Unfortunately, there might just be too many to get to.
Steve Cody, a council member in Palmetto Bay in Florida. Charlie Kirk is a fitting sacrifice to our Lords Smith and Wesson. Hallowed be thy name. Have we gotten rid of him yet?
What's his name?
His name is Steve Cody.
Spell that, Steve Cody.
He's a Democratic councilman
Cody?
C-O-D-Y,
Okay.
in Palmetto Bay. And then, of course, we have the footage.
Well, we're told that the vice mayor of the town of South Florida Village, Palmetto Bay, the vice mayor of this town, is shutting down all council business until Steve Cody resigns. Bingo. That's how it's done, folks. So another member of the council, Steve Cody's a councilman in this town.
Yeah.
And we'll have folks, I apologize. We've been working on this all weekend, but we're so focused on the effectiveness and getting things done. We don't have a great database.
Yeah. But let's hold on to this one and follow up on it.
We'll follow up. We'll try to pick some out and then follow up tomorrow with screenshots and pictures. But if you've been following us on social media, you've seen all
We've been doing
all
a
the
lot.
great work.
We've
And
been
we're not
doing
alone. It's being done by countless of people across social media.
We want to follow up and see what Comcast does too.
Right.
Are they just bullshitting, or are they going to do something about this? I have a guess on that one. Also, you're telling me that the Kunzel situation was straightened out already. They got rid of the doctor.
Right.
Is she back in her job? Is she?
Sorry?
Is she back in her job?
No. Oh, the nurse, yes.
She is?
The nurse is supposedly going back in her shift. Sorry, folks, we got a lot going on here. Yes, that nurse is expected to be back at her next shift, is what we're told.
Okay. Now, how about the footage of Ryder Corral, who jumped on top of the flowers, the photos, and the gifts left to memorialize Charlie in Phoenix, Arizona? You have the video of that?
I need to know the name again.
His name is Ryder Corral.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
I think you've seen it. He runs right across the.
Yeah, we'll play this. We have video of this attack.
What we want to know is what happened to him.
Yeah. Do you want to play?
I think he got arrested.
Do you want to play video of the attack or no?
I do.
Okay.
I actually think they give him a beating.
He's been arrested. Excuse us, folks. Sorry. Stop apologizing every time. I don't know that there's audio here, so we're going to try to find one with audio. Sorry. We're going to come back, folks. 1 second.
Yeah, that's the end of it, but that's him.
Yeah, but it's not. I want audio.
So what about
Here's a full video. I guess we don't need
there
audio.
there
Why
is
do
a
we need
full
audio? We don't
there
need
is a
audio.
full video of him. Yeah.
But we don't need audio. This is the full video of this attack at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. We'll try to get some more info. I can't put up the goddamn. What was his name? Ryder Corral? I can't.
Did they show him running through?
Yes. Yeah. I just, for some reason, there's no audio. I don't know why.
Because
But I'll just bring you back on, Mayor. You can talk
Yeah.
while I play it.
if we could see him running through.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning.
I see him knocked down. I don't see him running through.
Yeah, that's him running right here.
Where?
Well, you catch the end of him running through it, right?
No, we're only getting the end of it, Ted.
Yes.
We're only getting the end when they attack him, which is kind of unfair. It makes it look like he's being attacked. for nothing.
No. Okay, I'll find another one then. Sorry.
Yeah. Last month in Minneapolis, Robin Westman drove to the Annunciation Catholic Church with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol, and he killed 2 children. He hurt 20. He hurt 20 other people, and it's sort of been buried, right? He also shot 3 rounds into a statue of the Holy Family outside the church. So he put a couple of holes in the statue of St. Joseph and the Virgin Mary. And then if you look at his writings, this was a distinctly anti-Catholic attack, anti-Catholic violent attack. He didn't choose the school to attack. He chose the most sacred rite of the Roman Catholic Church, the Mass, to attack. The shooter also included a trans flag in his manifesto. He was tired of being trans. He wished he had never been brainwashed by the movement and regretted ever experimenting with gender. Gee, maybe he should have listened to Charlie. In 2018, Snosha Mosley, who identified as a transgender man, killed 3 people and wounded 2 others at a Maryland Rite Aid distribution center. In 2019, 2 students, one of them identified as a transgender man, opened fire at their Denver high school, killing a classmate and injuring 8 others. In 2022, Anderson Lee Aldrich, who identifies as non-binary, murdered 5 people at a Colorado gay bar. In 2023, Audrey Hale, who identified as a transgender man, shot up a school in Tennessee, killing 6 people, including 3 children. Transgender ideology has motivated violence. It is a simple conclusion. It needs to be openly, thoroughly, and without political correctness, minimizing it and censoring it. It needs to be investigated and understood if we're going to save lives in the future, or are we just going to continue to get people killed like Democrats have been doing to us forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. When you look at the whole situation with Robert Westman, who somehow at home went wrong, one has to figure out what happens with the parents. What happens? Do they empower it? Do they ignore it? Do they not see that when a child comes to them and is a male and says, I think I want to be a female, this is an extraordinarily serious issue? That this isn't something to be played with by a bunch of political hucksters or pharmaceutical thieves who basically are in charge of it right now. The amount of money for saying yes to a procedure, as opposed to the amount of money in saying wait, is life-changing. And unfortunately, we found that life-changing money can completely corrupt our medical industry, and has. We found that out during the pandemic. So we have 2 situations right now as we move on to another subject, as we get toward the end, because we want you to go see Dr. Maria tonight. And that is that in both Gaza, or both Israel and Ukraine, strangely, we seem to be holding back, more so in Ukraine. We're saying now that we're going to apply sanctions if all of Europe applies sanctions, because it won't really help if we just apply sanctions. Meanwhile, we've let 5-6 weeks go by of some of the worst killing of Ukrainians for no reason. As we pondered that, I wish I understood the strategy. I do not. And I don't know how, I understand how they're putting on sanctions will be extraordinarily over the top damaging, but I also realize how damaging just our doing it can be, and could very well have brought him to the bargaining table because of the economic impact America can have. Look, European Union on top of it, of course, even more. But it seems to me that every time we get to push comes to shove, another issue comes up. And I think we're at the end of it now, because the slaughter of the Ukrainian people is becoming not useless, unnecessary, horrible. We've got the power. I don't understand why we don't slap Putin across the face as hard as we can and see what happens. Meaning, let's put all our sanctions on him, and then let's pressure Europe to do the same. But I don't see why we have to wait for Europe to do it. Let's just do it with as many as want to, not go through the possibility that one country may hold out. Meanwhile, during this whole period of time that we've been holding back our leverage first our leverage in the Middle East, which could have been exercised on Qatar before Israel had to bomb there. We had plenty of leverage on Qatar to get rid of the top murderers of Hamas, and also to pressure them to get rid of the hostages. Now, but we had to wait until Israel did the job for us. And now we've got plenty of leverage on Russia to really crush them economically. And we keep waiting, and they keep going right into our face. Trump has a conversation with Putin. Putin says, I'm going to discuss peace. And then he carries out 2 or 3 of his most deadly attacks on Ukrainian civilians of the entire war. Right? In fact, one of them was going on as he was talking to Trump. I fear that he's doing the same thing he did before. He's testing us. So the only way these get over, is when we consistently hit back. In July, the peak month this year, Russia launched nearly 6,300 attack drones. That's while they were delaying. See why they're delaying? So it's got to, unless we just want to see people die needlessly, constantly, or we want to lose all credibility, it is time to put up or shut up. The speaker is trying real hard to lay the groundwork for sanctions. He gave a speech yesterday saying that we're ready to pass the Senate package on sanctions that would be diabolical against Russia. I seriously doubt that they wouldn't work, because financially they'd be crushed. Poland is now having to bring up reserves in order to protect themselves, since Russian drones are flying over Poland, and NATO did respond by knocking down the drones, but we didn't participate in that. What's the reluctance? Two-thirds of Russians are now calling for peace. Did you know that, Ted?
I'm not surprised. I'm sure folks there are getting frustrated with how bogged down things seem to be, and of course, and you have a better knowledge than I do, Mayor, of their conscription process. Is it true that I think at first, a lot of men, young men may have saw it as an opportunity to make some money. But it sure seems like a meat grinder and a lot of lives being lost. So now that they may be finding it harder to find such individuals.
Well, I mean,
Is there some truth to that?
I think so. I think both sides are having trouble finding recruits. The Russians are paying for them.
They're paying and relatively, it's
In
relatively
fact,
good
they're,
money.
They're paying almost for suicide troops, because the way the Russians conduct war, if they draft you, you got about a 20% chance of coming back, maybe 30, because they just send you right up. I mean, they attack with humans. They don't bother doing strafing beforehand, or that's why they lose a lot more than the Ukrainians.
They have a different value of human life.
Yeah,
than,
they have how about no value for human life? At least Putin doesn't.
And
So President Trump demanded Saturday all NATO countries stop buying oil from Russia in return for the U.S. slapping major sanctions on Moscow. Now, suppose one of the two of them doesn't. What would that matter? I mean, one or two of them doing business with them would be a little. It's almost as if you set up an obstacle to getting it done. Well, it's been a long time since the election that was supposed to be solved before the president came into office. It's been a long time since then. It's not solved, and it doesn't even have a.
And we thought at times, Mayor, over the last few months that maybe we were. Sorry, on Russia and Ukraine. Is that we're still on Russia?
Yeah, Ukraine. Yeah.
We thought maybe we were going to see some major headway. And of course, I still, I don't criticize the president for attempt for.
There's no doubt that Putin has double-crossed him. So
I think the president,
when we drop the hammer on him, sooner rather than later.
and we have a president who seems to have done all he can. He clearly wants to see the killing.
Yeah, but
stop.
What is going on now has the killing going on. By not putting the sanctions on 2 weeks ago, there was more killing in the last 2 weeks.
Right. And at what point?
And Israel is going to keep going on. I mean, Israel is taking Gaza City now. And as everybody says, they shouldn't expand the war. They're killing more Hamas. Good. Rubio is going there, and he's trying to straighten them out. He wants to lay out a plan so that Jerusalem can give them a plan for how they're going to end it. I think Jerusalem gave him a plan of how to end it on October 8th, when we kill every member of Hamas. Help us kill every member of Hamas, and we've ended it, including the sons of bishops that are hiding in Qatar, in your friend Qatar. You know, a Democratic alderman from Chicago is asking for the National Guard. He says, he's Raymond Lopez, and he says that no other people in the council, and he says that half the council supports it, but they're afraid to speak out because the fat slob governor will hold money back from them and use his wealth to ruin their campaigns.
Wow. Is that what?
That's in order to get more. He's going to, the fat slob governor is going to do this and get more people killed.
Is someone going to tell?
It's all for the purpose of getting people killed.
This guy thinks he has any shot at president, doesn't he?
Oh my God. No, we never would elect such a stupid, undisciplined man. Well, Mondami looks like nothing's stopping him. He got Hochul's support. It was sort of mixed. She made a complete buffoon out of herself in doing it. But 60% of Nassau County voters disapprove of Hochul.
60?
Yeah. 67% disapprove of Mondami. So Republicans are going to run their races in Nassau County against Hochul and Mondani and hope to pick up even more Republican support.
So Hochul caved. She endorsed him.
Pardon me?
So Hochul caved. She has endorsed him. Do you think that's a sign of what's to come with other Democrat?
Well, she's in a difficult position as the governor. It would be very hard for her not to do it, and it is very hard for her to do it. Now, Schumer and Jeffries have not done it yet. They haven't done it yet.
And Schumer is not running, or he is running. He's made no sign.
Schumer has not endorsed him.
But is he running for re-election, or has he not said?
Well, not this year.
He's got a ways to go before he has to decide.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to run for re-election. He's 145.
So it might tell you, if he does not end up endorsing him, that might tell you he's not running for re-election. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he...
Well, what do you think is the full involvement of the transgender movement with this guy?
Well,
with the girlfriend, boyfriend cooperating, but seeming to be a full-fledged member of the transgender community and sort of the love of his life.
well, we're starting to hear rumblings of a potential group chat on Discord, I believe. And we'll learn more potentially tomorrow, or when these charges are officially filed, which they're saying may happen as soon as tomorrow, in which case we will likely get more information. But we are hearing rumblings that there may have been a group chat of up to 20 people that may have been aware of something. Some of what we've seen, we've heard of a group chat post shooting, but now there are questions swirling about the presence of this group chat, other communications that were occurring in the days leading up to the assassination. There exists multiple social media posts kind of warning Charlie of, you're coming here, something big's going to happen. We'll try to bring those up. I can probably find those here in short order. But we should learn a lot more tomorrow about a potential, we don't know yet whether or not we are dealing with a potential conspiracy or, just a multitude of individuals who may have been aware beforehand. But we are awaiting, we're awaiting the charges to be filed, which we're told could happen as soon as tomorrow, at which point we do expect a lot more to be released, and we're told a lot more will be released per FBI Director Kash Patel this morning on Fox.
Well, we're going to ask you to go over to Dr. Maria on Lindell TV. She's probably just beginning, and she's going to have plenty of coverage on the psychology of this and the background of this. And therefore you can follow up with her, and then with us tomorrow at 7 o'clock on Lindell TV, and at 8 o'clock on what? America's Mayor Live.
That's right, Mayor. And I just want to say before we go, a lot of folks are thanking you and thanking your team.
Thanking you
for taking a leading role. Again, this isn't about destroying people's lives, but taking a leading role in exposing.
Yes, we got several nice calls congratulating us today.
Right. It just, your willingness, our willingness to stand up and call this out. We can't let it continue.
We can't let this go by. Otherwise, it's just going to happen again and again and again and again. And many, many more good people are going to die. We lost a treasure for our country. The personal dimension of it is even worse.
Right.
When you look at that family, I mean, your heart breaks.
This
didn't have to happen. This was orchestrated, and I don't know how. We're going to find out, but in some way, this was orchestrated. And we're going to know, I think, pretty shortly just exactly how.
This is a man who went onto college campuses, encouraged vigorous debate, encouraged those with different opinions he gave them a platform. He gave them a platform and had open, vigorous debate. and he was shot dead for it. It's not that you can't disagree with his politics, and yes, it's abhorrent that you would criticize him in death, but that's not the problem. The problem is celebrating, justifying, and condoning the idea that violence and murder is an appropriate response to someone who says something you disagree with. It is so abhorrent, and I know you agree, Mayor, and that's why.
No, but it's something we have to drive out of the body politic very, very quickly, and not let it fester.
Right.
And the problem is it's built in. This was coming, and we've had smaller versions of it before. So it's not as if this is out of the blue. This was coming, which means it now may be part of our political culture.
Right. Luigi Mangione.
This is thinkable.
We saw some of this with the healthcare CEO being shot dead from the back by Luigi Mangione, and we saw too many people looking at him as a hero, and that really should have that was the canary in the coal mine. That we really should have been. I shouldn't. I'll speak for myself. I shouldn't have been as shocked by the number of individuals, from teachers to nurses.
I was shocked at the number. I wasn't shocked that it was some.
Right.
But I was shocked at the number. I mean, obviously, it probably seems like more than it is because they're the ones that jump out. But still, that's a lot. It's more than just an isolated one or two here and there.
Right.
Well, we're going to stay on top of it.
Yep.
We're going to pray. We're going to pray to God to restore to us a sense of humanity and decency to all of our people, so that we go back to, oh my gosh, the convention of saying, let's not speak ill of the dead. Or if we are, can we wait until the fullness of history when we have to do it? You're not sure if I mean, the other thing about this is, those are people who are doing this. First of all, you're dead wrong about him, but you're not even sure you're right. You don't know this man. You're just doing this because you're brainwashed. You don't know Charlie Kirk. You never met him. You probably couldn't repeat half 2% of what he said.
Let alone argue against it.
I mean, half these
with
people
words, not bullets.
don't know what river or sea it is.
That's right, Mayor.
How are they going to know who Charlie Kirk is?
That's right. They hear one. That's a great point, Mayor. And then they hear one thing online about him being.
Yeah, I mean, they
something
find
that he's not.
He's a friend of Trump. Good, he's dead. Well, it's not good. God, please help us take from this something very, very positive that'll stand as a testimony to Charlie. So with that, we'll see you tomorrow night. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. It was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world. the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans.